everybody. This is Patricia Windrow at the Cable Easel. I'm coming to you this evening live for the first time on this show, and telephone calls will be accepted, and we can maybe converse and talk about what I'm doing. I'm going to be working from Life in a Way. I'm going to be working and doing a painting of the Christmas tree at the Bald Hill Ski Bowl. And I'm also going to be doing a little bit of cartooning at the beginning of the program. This is kind of Christmas-oriented, and that's because that's this season of the year. And so stay tuned now, and let me see if I can't just sort of very quickly do a few caricatures, cartoons rather, and call in if you have any questions about what I'm doing. Maybe we can have a nice talk, and maybe I can help you some way with maybe whatever problems you might be having with drawing or painting. So here we go. Let me just begin with showing you how one lays out one of our favorite characters. This little fellow is built on circles. Some of them are long, and some of them are perfectly round, and some of them are a little bit elongated. But most of these cartoon characters are built on circles. So as soon as you can see that I have laid these out, I will explain to you, and then we'll go very quickly into the business of using this marker. Everybody knows what these markers are. Magic markers. This is a special pad called a marker pad, and it has extremely smooth paper. So here is the way one would begin this kind of cartooning, which seems to be a very favorite everywhere. I mean, it certainly captures every child's imagination. And please don't forget that I'm going to use a larger one because I don't think that this is showing clearly enough. So let me use a nice big fat marker, and that should solve the problem of visibility. So here is one. I'm sure that by this time there seems to be some understanding of what this fellow is. This guy celebrated his 50th birthday. We should all look so good when we're 50, as this guy fellow does. And there is a formula about drawing this little character, and it never changes. It's always the same. And Mr. Disney established this 50 years ago. So built on the circle, as you can see, all of the lines are free-flowing. And when you're doing this, you have to have a free-flowing hand. As best you can. If it's a little bit rough, it doesn't matter, because the polished work is not what we're after. We're after trying to show you how this sort of thing takes place, and it takes some practice. I would never want you to think that this kind of thing is easy, but it certainly is great fun to watch somebody do it, and so that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this evening, just for the fun of it. To instruct this takes many, many years, but anyway, here we are. So I'm sure that by this time there seems to be no question about who this is, and I just wanted you to see how this kind of the use of the circle is what forms this particular thing. Oh, we forgot two circles, very important ones. This is his trademark. And let me just give you some idea that this is the way you would do these with this fat marker. And then of course the whole idea that little Mickey is absolutely black is what another one of the trademarks. Minnie is the same. The only difference between Minnie and Mickey is this, and I'll show it to you in just a second. The difference between Minnie and her boyfriend is this. This is what Minnie gets to look like Minnie, and then she gets a little tiny mouth here, and it's usually red. But Minnie only has two things about her that differentiate her from Mickey, and that's 3 eyelashes on each eye and a little tiny mouth. Of course, the rest she usually has some sort of frill on, a little collar maybe like this. But that's the difference between Mickey and Minnie. Maybe people didn't know that. So let me just finish filling this in, and then we'll go on to another little character. The reason I do this is that people find it great fun to watch these things take place in front of their eyes. Okay, I'm going to give this to maybe some children's hospital. I'll put some color on it, and a children's hospital can have this for the hall. Here's another little guy. He's built on circles too. Let me show you how I'm going to lay him out. He's here is maybe you won't be able to see this because it's very subtle and I don't want to make the layout too dark because it'll spoil the finished drawing. So I'm just gonna lay it out with a few circles. So let's go with this fellow and see if you can recognize him rather quickly. I'm going to start with the eyes. The eyes are the things that really make it important. Now, all Disney eyes do that. I'm sure that everybody knows that. Here is the difference between who this fellow is. The squeaking is not the character, but it's this magic marker. And I know people who would not be able to stand to work on this another minute because of the squeak. But anyway, so I'm going to put those two things in there. And he has very high eyebrows, this guy. His little band of his hat. And he's only described with 3 or 4 feathers on the side. His little duck feathers are very are minor. There's not a great deal of concentration done on the feathers. This little guy is a definite formula. He always has this on, no matter where he's at, because he's always in his little sailor costume. Now, don't forget, call in if you've got any sort of questions about what I'm doing, or even requests. If I could fill them in a hurry, I would be happy to do that. But the only way I'm going to know that you're out there and watching this is if you call in. So by all means, call. Let me see if I can. Oh, here we are. I love the squeak. The squeak is really wonderful. There, and let me see what else. Oh, the feet. He has webbed feet, of course, not like Mickey who wears shoes. So we have to give him just the simpler the drawing with these cartoons, the better. Disney figured out that the only way you can reproduce these things in a great quantities is to keep them extremely simple. I'm not going to worry about, well, maybe I'll just worry about a little bit of color on this because I happen to have my watercolors with me. And one of the things about this little fellow is that that he has a blue, oh no, his costume is blue at the top. He has a blue shirt on. So he ends at the top and the bottom of him is white. Okay, we got to clean you up, Donald. Wait a minute. There you go. When I worked with the Disney people out there, speaking to the characters was perfectly normal. We all talked to them, and you had a nice conversation with any one of the characters that you were working with. So pay no attention to that lady who is talking to this drawing. It's all in the trade. Okay, we can go on to the next one. We want to really get down to the painting of the Christmas tree at the ski bowl. So, as you all probably know, that these feet are yellow, and that's what would go in if we were going to be doing any more color. So here's another one, and this is wonderful paper, by the way. Of course, it should be. It was $8 a pad, and it's not something that I do every day. I don't buy those things every day. All right, let's get to another one. Oh, I think I detect that there's a phone call. Let's take the call, okay? Yes, hello, who are you?
Laura Heath.
Hi.
Hi, I was wondering, could you draw Betty Boop?
Ah, yes, I'm old enough to be able to draw Betty Boop, but I have not memorized her well enough. How do you know Betty Boop? You're such a young thing.
It was in one of my computer art classes. We were doing some graphics on the computer.
Oh, good. So you know that she's more than 50 years old. She must be at least 75 years old.
Yeah, I like her songs that she sings.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. Well, I wish I could do it for you, but maybe if we do another live show, I'll brush up on Betty Boop.
Okay, thanks. So I love your drawings, too. They're really
Thanks.
great.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely wonderful. I'll bet you the people who did Betty Boop at that time didn't know that they were going to produce a classic. All right, let me just do this, and then I think I can call this as the last one, because we really want to get to that, to the painting and drawing. So I think that I've got a preliminary drawing here, very faintly done, because there's just not enough time to be able to concentrate on the building of these things with so little time. The show is not long enough. So I'm just doing this so that you can kind of get a feeling of of the formula of these characters. As I said before, it's simplicity, which is important, and circles, and of course things have to make sense. This collar has to go around his neck. You can't just fake it. You have to make sure that you understand that when things go around, they go behind things. His body has been reduced to a very simple shape, and so has the formula for his legs. All Disney animals have got 3, either toes or fingers. Mickey has 3 fingers and a thumb, and our dog here has got 3 toes, and you will find that in Dumbo he's got 3 little circles on his feet, and so that formula was established. And if it's a real Disney character, you will know that that's what has to be followed. Well, oops, tail. Here we are. So. Let's leave our wonderful Disney character. I think I have another call. Right. Okay. Let's see who this is. Good evening, and who are you?
Hi, my name is Ann, and I love your drawing. We watch it often.
Good.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've seen murals painted on children's bedrooms' walls,
Yeah.
and I was wondering how much you would have to know how to draw to be able to do something like that. I see you trace first, or you're etching something in before you actually start.
Well, you know, it's any endeavor has to be planned and laid out. You know, whether it's a party or a dress or anything, you have to lay it out. The pencil drawings that you see here are because of time, but you must lay things out. Now, it depends upon whether you're going to do complex drawings on this mural. If the drawings are going to be complex, you ought to have some knowledge of drawing. What do you plan to do?
I wanted to draw it on a children's wall.
What? What do you want to draw?
I want to draw the Disney characters.
Oh.
I want to draw something simple to start with, you know, the most simple character possible, and maybe as I got better, I could, you know, the walls are big. We could put at least 3 animals on the walls by the time the room would be finished.
Yeah. Well, don't be deluded to think that if it's a Disney character, it's simple. It's actually difficult to make it look right. I would suggest that you know, you're going to live with this wall, and it's going to be there, and it isn't going to go away, so you better do it right. And if you're going to do it right, do it proportionally right. It doesn't matter how wiggly the lines are, or how unsmooth the paint is. If the drawing is right, you'll get away with it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So pay attention to the details and get the proportions right, and I think you'll have a winner.
Please keep helping us. You're really a help.
Good. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, well, that's nice to hear. I'm helping people. Well, that's actually wonderful. Okay, I think that maybe you know, maybe we really ought to get going on this business of painting. Let me do one more. Let me do one from life. This is not a Disney character. This is a person character, and he's one of my very favorites because he's just a caricature all by himself. So just let me see if I can pull this off and have you kind of go along with the fact that this is one of my favorite characters. I've done him before on this show, and he seems to resurface all the time. So, because I think you'll agree that this is a very endearing character, and I want you to see how you can reduce the human face to just a few lines. I've forgotten, I don't know how many lines I've done so far, but there certainly can't be more than 6 or 7. And let me see, is that visible yet? No, we can't recognize him yet. Let's see if this is going to make it better. Oh, I don't think that that's him yet. Okay. Is that getting there? Well, not really. I think this is probably going to be the thing that's going to make you know who this is. I think I have another call, which anyway. Oh, but you know what's going to make him much more recognizable is that whenever you see this guy, these glasses of his always seem to be dark at the top. For some reason, because he wears dark glasses, and so I suppose that would be more considered Mr. Burns. I think there's a call. So yes, hello, and who are you, please? Is there somebody there?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Woodward. I'm calling in reference. Do you ever hold classes? I do paint myself, and or else you have to excuse my voice. I have a sore throat. And
I'm sorry.
and I think I'm fairly good. I'm just wondering if I'd like to brush up on better techniques.
Yeah.
Do you hold classes or?
No, sir. What's your name?
Ralph.
Oh no, Ralph, I don't have time to get to have classes. As you know, teaching is a very time-consuming thing, and if I taught, I wouldn't have time to paint. And so I'm sorry that I don't have classes for you to brush up on, but you know, there is a university here on the island, and there's a rather good art course. It isn't going to necessarily teach you anything past the very avant-garde and modern kind of painting, but there is a man called Robert White who is a wonderful painter and sculptor, and you might investigate that.
Okay, fine. Like I say, I think I'm fairly good.
Good.
But the thing is, I'm not as perfect, of course, as you are, because you are a professional. And I just wanted to get that expertise.
Well, expertise, you know, I'm self-taught, and there's nothing to prevent you, Ralph, from just teaching yourself. So
I have. I've been drawing since I was 5 years old.
good. Keep
And
teaching
I'm
yourself.
in my 50s, so, you know.
Yeah, well, you know what you get when you teach yourself. You don't run the risk of getting a bad teacher.
Yeah, well, like I say, I've picked up a little here and a little there between your show and I watch Alexander. But, of course, a lot of people don't recognize Alexander because of the way he paints.
Yeah.
But I think he's a fine artist also. I mean, regardless, you know, I still think he's fine. I've painted along with him and Ross and all.
Good.
And then my paintings are, I feel, good, you know. But like I say, I like to have somebody to tell me how good I am. You know, I have my own thoughts about myself, but it's best to have somebody professional tell you.
I tell you what you do. Write a postcard to this station with your name and your phone number on it. When I get back into town, I'll call you, and maybe I can look at some of your things and give you some idea.
Oh, that would be fine.
Yeah, I'd be delighted to.
Okay, is that Viacom I write to?
Yeah, just write to Viacom in Hauppauge. Put your phone number down. Tell them why you're sending the card,
Right.
and then they will give me the phone number, and I'll call you when I get back into
That
town. I'm
sounds
going to
very
be
nice.
gone for
Thank
a
you
while.
very much. Good evening.
Well, goodbye, Ralph.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take a break now, and then we're going to come back and start some real show-enough painting. So don't go away. Back again, and now we're going to start this business of painting from life, but it's not really from life. It's a prepared monitor tape. We went up to the ski bowl yesterday evening as the sun was setting and ran a tape on the Christmas tree, which was lit there this week. And I'm going to be working from the monitor, which is about as good as we can get as working from life, which is my thing. You do not work from photographs or from other people's paintings. You work from life. However, we have it here. I'm looking at the monitor at this time. I'm not freezing to death out in the cold, and I've got the best that I can hope for as far as working from the real thing. And so I have done a preliminary sketch because time would not allow me to begin a sketch, you know, with a short time. I have to prepare it somewhat. But the business of applying paint to canvas is one of the things that I want to get involved with here. And needless to say, I have to work quickly. But I also have to work effectively so that I get what I'm after. I'm working with art brushes, not house brushes. The only expensive equipment that I have are my brushes. They actually are the thing that you must spend the money on. You can't do it with brushes that are no good. So. When your investment takes place, be sure that you get the right brushes. I work with sable brushes. I try to avoid the acrylic brushes and the fake fibers because they don't have any life and they don't have any a bounce to them. So the best thing to do is to realize that if you're a carpenter, you get the best tools, and if you're a painter, you get the best brushes, because that's what you apply paint with, is brushes. There was a wonderful sunset there yesterday. The first thing that you do in painting landscapes is to paint the part that's the furthest away, naturally, and then you work towards the foreground. We chose a sunset because of the wonderful use of color. And the use of color is what painting is all about. Doesn't mean that you have to be unsubtle. You can be very flamboyant with the color, especially when you're dealing with something like a sunset. Yesterday evening, it was cooperative. It wasn't as pink as I would like to have had it. Now, you may wonder why I am painting here in the center, because the tree has been laid out in here. You paint the background first. That should be fairly obvious. You are not going to paint around the needles and the branches and the decorations of a tree. You're going to paint the background and prepare it. So I'm just going to be preparing the area that is directly around the tree for you to be able to see, and then we'll get to the work on the tree, and then if there's time, I'm going to continue with the rest of the background. But right now I'm blending colors. There is it a call? No. Okay. I'm blending these colors, and I'm working in oils, as you can tell. Oils have a wonderful way of remaining pliable. They don't dry quickly the way acrylics do, and so you're able to do some interesting and very acceptable blending with oils. A lot of people are afraid of oils. I don't know why, because they can get messy if you don't keep the colors clean. The way you keep the colors clean is by keeping your brushes clean, and you wipe them at all times. I work with a paper towel at all times to make sure that when I go from one color to the other, I am not going to go into the brush full of blue and start expecting to get pink unless I wipe the blue off. So I'm now applying a mixture of white, cadmium yellow, and something called vermilion. I work with a minimum of colors. You can see that my palette has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is at the most 15 colors. You do not have to work with any more than that. There are many, many more to choose from. There are colors that are only repetitious. It's a wonderful way for the color manufacturers to make a great deal of money. You don't need more than 15 colors, even at that. You don't actually, if you came right down to it, you wouldn't need very much more than 3 colors with black and white, the primary colors with black and white. However, using a lot of colors makes for a more professional look and a more interesting combination. So here we are. We have a call. Okay, let's see if I can, let me see who is calling me, and then we can talk. Hello, who are you? Is there anybody there?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
I'd just like to tell you that I really think you're a good drawer and a really nice painter.
Thank you. And what's your name, sweetie?
Jennifer.
Jennifer?
Yeah.
Good. How old are you?
I'm 14.
Ah, do you paint, Jennifer?
Sometimes.
Ah, you have to paint all the time. And so you're watching tonight?
Yeah.
Good. And let me just continue what I'm doing if you want to talk. Have you got anything on your mind? Have you got any questions that you'd like to ask?
Nah, not really.
Okay, well, that certainly simplifies my job. I appreciate your calling, Jennifer.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's good. I love to get compliments. Have I got another call? Another one? Oh, okay. We have a very mysterious, wonderful electronic way for me to be able to guess who is out there. I have a secret method of how I know the calls are coming in. However, that's my secret. All right, I've got a good deal of the preparation for this tree in, and I want to show you. I'm now going to change my brush. I'm going to change it to a finer brush. No, I'm not. Wait a minute. See, I have such a wonderful selection of brushes here, I can't make up my mind which one I want to use. I think I'll use this one. The tree is in almost stark silhouette because it is against a very brilliantly lit background. And that's why we're going to be using using very little color, and I'm mixing yellow and black, which is my favorite way of making green. And now with this background, I can begin to apply the the motif, which is the tree at this point. I am not that wonderful that I don't have to lay it out. I have to lay it out rather carefully as I'm painting over this background, because I really don't want to start to put some ugly and unfortunate colors on this background, because I have bothered to put the background in, and it's hard to correct. So what you should try to do, if you're going to be using a prepared background, such as I'm doing now, is to try to go slowly, be observant, and remember that to go back is dangerous. You can't really go back and correct this. So when you're starting out, of course, you're going to have to be able to make mistakes and then start again. But I think that what I'm showing you here now is can be helpful, that you go at it slowly and with deliberation, and the understanding that the branches on this tree go up, that you can interpret them. You're not doing a botanical drawing here. You're doing an impression of a tree. So every needle is not important. What is important is the fact that you have the anatomy of the tree carefully observed, namely that these branches are full, the trunk is visible many times in the middle, because the branches are not full evenly, thank goodness. And this does not resemble anywhere near what you get on Christmas cards. Usually Christmas cards are stylized trees that don't have any texture and don't have any irregularities. But the interesting thing about painting from life is that you see the irregularities and that they make for the reality, which is far more interesting than a formula. So as you can see, it would have been impossible for me to be painting this background around this if I'd put the tree in first. Then I'm going to be stuck with the business of the background. Over here, you can see there is a flag, and the nice part is that flag was waving in the breeze yesterday afternoon around sunset time, which tells you that monitor is in fact alive, and it isn't a still photograph that I'm working from. So, okay, so as I'm painting this rather handsome tree that the town of Brookhaven has given to the community, and they had a lovely tree lighting ceremony up at the Cultural Center. It was quite wonderful to watch, and we're fortunate to have such a perfectly beautiful area to live in. I think there's another call, so let me answer and say, who is that? Thanks for calling, and tell me your name.
Hi, I'm Susan.
Hello, Susan.
Hi. I love your show. I watch it all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. Can I fill your life with any information?
Yeah, I was wondering, what do you like to draw with the best? What's the easiest?
Oh, oils, of course.
Oils?
That's the most fun. But as you could see, if you saw the beginning of the show, I have a great time with a magic marker, too. But oils are my medium, yes.
Yeah.
The one that drives me the craziest is watercolors. It's hard, and it's erratic, and it's just not cooperative. But oils are very cooperative. Do you paint?
I sometimes.
Yeah.
I used to paint a lot. I don't paint that much anymore.
Are you a schoolgirl?
I just got out of school.
You did?
Yeah.
Where are you going now?
I'm just working now.
Aha. Well, apparently you don't work when my show is on, so you wouldn't see me. Anything else you want to talk about while I continue with my tree?
Is that tree on now, or is
yes. Oh, yeah, it's up there. Just go on up there, find your way over to the Patchogue Mount Sinai Road, and find the Cultural Center, and you'll see it. And they've got, I don't know, piped Christmas music going on, and there's a cute little exhibit inside with moving dolls. It's a kind of a mini Disney World thing, so it's rather lovely. So go on up there, especially at sunset. It's just beautiful.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling,
Okay,
Susan.
bye.
Good. Well, as you can see, we're getting down towards the lower part of the tree, and I'm going to fill it in a little bit more and make it darker, because the point of this particular composition is the lights on the tree. Naturally, without darkness, there is no light. So if you're painting something in which you know you're going to have to express pinpoints of light, you have to make sure that what you're going to be doing it against is dark. That's logical. So as you can see, I'm darkening up the areas of the foliage so that the lights that I put in are going to be even brighter. The building that's in the background turned into almost an absolute silhouette as the evening wore on, and it's kind of turned into a sort of a nothing brownish kind of thing, which I'll simply bring in here in a kind of a mauve, tannish brown color. As you can see, I'm going up against the tree, but when the roof of the building was against the tree, it was all very, very dark, and this is what I'm working on now to show you how the preparation of the background is vital to keeping the light as it must be in order for it to shine, because we are, after all, dealing only in colors, and we're not dealing with electricity in any way. You've got to improvise and give the impression that there are lights on. So here we have the silhouetted building. If there's time in this one short fleeting hour, I'm going to be able to maybe finish more of this, but what I've got to concentrate on for you is the beginning of this tree. The rest of the buildings, as you can see, are going to do this and they're going to do that. And I drew this beforehand yesterday, and here we have this rather handsome, wonderful tower that has some nice clean lines and behind this building, if you go through this building, here's the front door to the building. You go through the building, the exhibition hall is in here, and in the back is the most wonderful amphitheater for outside events in the summertime, musical events, and it's going to be probably one of the most remarkable cultural centers on Long Island very soon. And if you live in the town of Brookhaven or Islip, it's right in your own doorstep. It's probably going to put Heckscher State Park in the background for concerts. So we have to keep an eye on the activities of this cultural center here, right in the middle of Brookhaven. Okay, we have another call coming, and so let me answer that and see who that is. Hello, and who are you, please?
Hi, my name is Robert.
Hello, Robert.
Yeah, I'm 13, and I just wanted to ask you, well, I wanted to say first that I really love your work.
Thank you.
And I'm interested in cartoons. And
Good for you.
I take an accelerated art course in school, and I want to know how much college and what colleges and stuff are really good for that.
Well, Robert, the only college that I really know of where you would concentrate on being a cartoonist or an animator is called CalArts. It's in California. It was established by Walt Disney, and it has major courses in all the aspects of animation, cartooning, and so forth. So if you put in an application to CalArts, you'll probably be asked to give what they call a visual audition. You'll have to send some material in.
Oh, okay.
I have been out there with some young students, and some of them have gotten in.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have a second? Because my sister is interested in too. She'd like to ask you some questions.
Sure.
Hello, my name is Tony. I really like artwork. I like cartoons. My older brother drew cartoons on my little brother's wall and stuff, and I like your work a lot.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Do you do cartooning as well sometimes?
Sometimes.
Good enough. How old are you?
11.
Ah, well, it's the perfect age. I'm glad you called. Have you got anything else on your mind?
My little brother wants to talk.
Your little brother.
Okay.
Good.
Hi.
Hi, little brother. How old are you?
6.
Oh, boy. What's your name?
Matthew.
Hello, Matthew.
I like your drawings, and I'm interested, and I wonder are you going to be on tomorrow? Because I want to start drawing your stuff.
Well, I'm not going to be on tomorrow because tomorrow is Saturday. Now, you see, I have a taped program that goes on this station every week. And so maybe if you look at your magazine or you call the station and find out when my show is going to be on next, you'll catch me.
Okay.
But I won't be on tomorrow.
Okay, but my mom paints a lot for ceramics.
Oh, good. And how old is she? Never mind. I'm sure glad you called. I got to take a break now.
Okay.
So take care of yourself.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Yeah, let's take a break and I'll be back in a short while. Well, here we are again. I had a whole family on just a minute ago, and I'm going to continue painting. If any calls come in, I'd love to speak to anybody who comes, but I'm going to keep painting because we have a tremendous amount of work to do in a short period of time. So by all means, don't hesitate to call, but forgive me if I don't look right at you while I'm talking to you, because that is not going to get us towards the end of this wonderful project that we've got going. I'm using turpentine, of course, to wash out my brushes, and I use paper towels. These are all little pieces of technique which you probably ought to know about and keep in mind, because paint is toxic, and it also should not stay on the skin too long, and it also ought to be treated with a great deal of respect. And the respect is that you keep your brushes clean, but you also keep paint out of your hands. If you have hangnails, it is a poor idea to have paint getting anywhere near. There might be an open sore in your hands, because there is lead in paint, and we don't want to have anybody catch lead poisoning for the sake of art. So I'm working on this flag here, which is in the background. It has to be quite subtle. I'm not doing a study of the flag. The flag just happens to be there. And it was blowing very cooperatively in the breeze last night. And so I just wanted to show you that if I hadn't put the flag and the building in, I could have been painting a Christmas tree anywhere. But what I wanted to do was to show you the Christmas tree that we have here in Brookhaven. And the identification, of course, is the fact that it's right there that the building is there identifying it. So we have flags are sort of funny to do, and you gotta kind of be careful of them. But anyway, that's all you really need to show a flag. Let's light the tree, guys. Let's see if we can get the tree lit. With this wonderful dark background, you can see that anything that you put on is going to be extremely bright. I'm not going to attempt to place the light bulbs exactly where they are on the tree. This is an impression of the of lights in a tree. The selection of the darkness is the thing that makes this all work. If people say, "Oh, isn't that magic?" It isn't magic. It is just logical. Now I'm using some red and some white to give you pink lights. Let's see if this is too subtle. Well, it's a little bit subtle. If it was maybe more of a close-up, you'd be able to see that these are actually supposed to be red lights, and that they will in fact appear to be. And so I'm going to give you a pure yellow ones now. And that'll probably be. Oh, there's another call. As I keep lighting this Christmas tree, let me take the call. Hello, and who are you?
Hi, I'm Vinnie Morrow, and I just want to tell you first that I love your cartoons. And,
good, thanks.
You're welcome. And I also like drawing Disney characters myself. And I just wanted to know what kind of paper you use to draw them on.
Well, Vincent, naturally, the good quality paper is the thing that everybody hopes for, because it can take a lot of erasing. You can work on newsprint, but you haven't got much margin for error. You know, if you make a mistake on newsprint and you erase it, you've made a hole in the paper. So, if you're going to be doing something that you really think that you're good enough at, get some good paper. Get a good, and as I said before, there's this wonderful new pad. It's called Magic Marker Pad. You can get it at Pearl Paint in East Meadow. It's $8 a pad, but it's really wonderful. And, that's the best advice that I can give you. Actually, you can work on anything.
Thanks.
Okay, bye, Vincent.
All right, bye.
I'm going to be putting in some of these, some of this nifty garlands. And as you can see, I've toned it down because they were not brilliant white. They were kind of grayed, so because they are not electric lights. So you can't make the garlands as bright as you make the lights. You keep the value of those down so that you don't detract from the brilliance of the lights. This is just observational color information, that even though the garlands were made of silver, they couldn't possibly be as brilliant as the bulbs were. So the decorating of this tree should be kept very simple. There is no need to go any further than the minute you think that you have given the story of what the tree looked like, then you stop, because then it becomes what we call overworked. And overworked is the sign of being of amateur work. The painter knows when to stop. All I can say is that as soon as you feel that you have the impression of the tree clearly enough made, then that's the time to quit. So we have here, I have here the painting of the tree, part of the background. Now I'm going to continue to work on the buildings, and even though the monitor tells me that they are extremely dark, I'm going to have to remember a little bit about what they were yesterday. It's a wooden building with beautiful cedar siding, I believe. But in the darkness of the sunset, it was quite dark. Let me get a little bit of turpentine in there to darken, to thin this out. Okay, I think there's another call, so let me take that other call and keep working as I do it. Yes, hello, and who are you?
I'm Keith.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, but you're my second favorite artist.
Ah, who's your first favorite?
Bob Ross.
Ah, good. Well, I'm traveling in good company.
I'm on TV.
Huh?
I'm on TV.
Who's on? You're on. Your voice is on TV. That's for sure.
Good enough.
Anything else?
No, that's all I want to say.
Huh?
That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I'm so glad you called. Bye-bye. Yeah. All right, we have this, the building over here was dark. And this is, as I said, this is a nice wooden building. And I'm showing you that to give an impression of something is as important as the details. And sometimes when you're working on background, the details ought to be eliminated because that'll only rob you of what is going on in the foreground. So yeah, on this building, there was a nice little glow of a light coming out of that window because it had started to get dark. And the little glowing light in the window was very sweet, and so I'm just giving you an impression of what that was. The trim on the building is white, but in the darkness of the light, it turned kind of bluish gray, and I'm going to show you the trim on the building should be done, even though it was white, in that light, it is not white. And then there's another little wing that comes out here. And then, of course, this is white, and this is... on that building, there is also a wreath. And the wreath was very dark, and so I'm just going to show you a circular thing for the wreath, and it doesn't have to be detailed in any way. It's going to tell you the story because it also had lights on it. The sunset took place very quickly. We were there one moment, and the next moment it was almost gone. So here there were just a few sparkling lights on this little wreath, and the same technique and device of doing a dark background in order to get the lightness is to hold true of an area even when it's very small. I believe I've got to darken this side of the building to show you that it is a mass. So we'll darken that side of the building, and as we come down here, there is a door, and this side of the building also has to be taken care of. So if you haven't been to the ski bowl, go up there and take a look at it sometime. It's one of the lovely parks in the area, and it should certainly be supported in any way that you can. There are art exhibits there. There are concerts in the summertime. There is informational stuff for you to pick up. And it's really a place that everybody ought to go and see. Okay, I have another call, so let's see who that is. Hello, and who are you?
Hi, my name is Stephen. I want to tell you that I really like your drawings.
Thank you, Stephen.
Well...
Where do you live, honey?
I live on Adams Avenue.
Where's that? What town?
Sound Beach.
Oh, Sound Beach, okay.
Yeah. This is the best drawings I ever seen. And, listen,
I'm really glad you like them, Stephen.
Yeah.
Do you do any drawing yourself?
Yeah.
You do?
Uh-huh.
So that's why you're interested, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
And, I want to ask you, how come when you put on those, put on the colors, how come they don't go run into each other?
Well, because I'm using oils that are not runny colors. Watercolors run into each other, but oils don't.
Oh.
They're pretty stable colors. Watercolors do run, but as I said before, in order to not get your colors so that they run into each other and make a mess, you have to keep your brush clean. So that when you change from, for instance, the color that I'm using now, this brown color of the hills in the background, I'm not going to expect to be able to have this brush pick up some pale yellow unless I clean it. And you have to clean it properly. So the way you keep the brushes from, the painting from being, as you say, running into each other is by keeping your brush clean, which is what I'm doing right now. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, you're Stephen, right?
Yeah.
Well, Stephen, you got anything else on your mind?
Well, nah.
Well, I sure hope you have a nice holiday.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Oh. Okay, do we have another one? Oh, good. Here's another call. Hello? And can you tell me your name, please?
My name's Jennifer Kinsoli. I'm 8 years old, and I wanted to know, what should you use as a beginner's painting? What should you paint as a beginner?
Oh, what subject matter or what
Yeah.
materials?
Like what subject?
Well, I think that you should start subjects that are not going to fade or die on you. Like flowers would be lovely to do, but they don't last very long. So if you want to do still life, you know what a still life is?
Yeah.
It's like fruits and vegetables and stuff.
Yeah, stuff that stays still.
Stuff that stays still, and you know that apples and oranges and pears and eggplants and stuff like that, they don't fade. So you can set them up for 3 or 4 or 5 days and they never change. So you might start with that. And if you can find a lovely scene somewhere that doesn't change too much, you can do some landscape painting. I don't know, it's what you'd like to paint that you ought to paint, no matter whether, there's no really any formula about how you start. It's what you'd like to do. What do you think you'd like to start painting?
Well, I wasn't sure. That's why I asked you.
Well, you see, I like to paint everything. And when I was little, I painted houses. I did paintings of houses and paintings of trees and paintings of things. And whatever I saw that I liked, I painted. So I guess it's entirely up to you to decide what it is that you'd like to do.
Okay.
See, I don't want to tell you to go and paint something that's going to bore you to death. Right?
I just wanted to tell you something. I like ink, so what would you use for
Ink?
an ink painting? Yeah.
Oh, ink is great. Well, you could use a good quality smooth paper, and use a nib. You know what a nib is?
No.
A pen. Go to the art store and have the man sell you a pen with a nib and a bottle of India ink and a nice smooth pad, probably Bristol board, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And you should be able to do some nifty ink drawings with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure glad you. Are you Jennifer?
Yes.
Oh, good, Jennifer. I'm so glad you called.
Thank you.
Okay, honey. Bye.
Bye.
I love these young voices that are all so enthusiastic. It's just wonderful. So I'm working now on the I'm trying to resolve this background, which of course when we were there changed, and because the sky has a tendency to do that. There was a wonderful mauve streak in here, mauve being pale purple, and I think I'm going to introduce that right now. It was a wonderful sort of a slanting cloud formation that took place towards the end of the session that we were there, and it just sent a streak of purple across the sky that was so exciting. And then this strange kind of wind-blown arrangement up here took place. And then the other lovely thing that happened, I'm not sure that I can show it, but at one point a big airliner that came over, because this is the run to the airports. This is the run to Kennedy and LaGuardia, that a huge liner went by, and there was a contrail up there, and it was brilliant gold. So I'm not going to blend this. I'm going to blend this streak here that came across the sky and disappeared rather quickly, but I'm using something called a fan brush, and it's to get rid of sharp and harsh lines, and to blend as you go. And that wind was really strong enough to give all sorts of all sorts of lovely blendings to this strange, nice, purplish cloud formation that came. Okay, well, I think that the contrail came across here in brilliant gold. It was just wonderful. The sky got darker very rapidly. My show, I'm afraid, is coming to an end rather rapidly. And so, as best I can, I'm going to maybe let night fall a little bit as I progress with this painting. The foreground being this right down here, became extremely dark. Oops. Hang on, I've got to hold on to this fellow. It seems to be wanting to leave the easel. This has been the first time that I have had the cable easel on the Viacom network live. It's been a wonderful experience, and it took a little bit of preparation to do and a little bit of planning, but the calls are quite wonderful to hear, because that's the only way that I know that somebody is out there listening and taking all of this in. I tape these programs most of the time, and they are then broadcast live from this, over the network. But to be able to do it live is really very interesting to me, and I hope that it's given you all something valuable to take with you, or to, if you can make contact with somebody and ask a question, then when the question is answered, then it gives a whole different dimension to the program. I got another call? No, I don't think so. Okay, we're running a little bit out of time, but it's going to give me a moment to show you. Oh, there was a lot of brilliance over here, so I better pay attention to that. That's why we're trying to work from life. So I'm going to get some yellow in here. There was a lovely silhouetted tree, which may be the best way for me to wind up the program. It's not in the monitor here because my sketch is a little bit longer than the monitor, but the tree is done. The tree is done with very thin paint, and it's to be as an interpretation. So let me get really close with this and show you what I mean. You have to remember the construction of a tree, of course, is very logical. Even though it looks a little bit arbitrary, it's logical. The branches head north or up and out. The brush that I'm using is called a striping brush. It is essential if you want to do details. It also requires a lot of practice, and as you can see, there's a technique of lifting the brush at the end and getting the branches pointed, especially in the winter time. This one was, however, a cedar that had a little bit of the needles on the end of it, and I'll show you how you can interpret this. I'm using just some very dark color, silhouette color, and the fact that this cedar up here just has a few of its needles on it is an interpretive problem, and it also means that you can get away with very little, almost no effort, no tricks here, no fancy brushes, no silly business of hitting the canvas with a brush and whacking at it and hoping for the best. These are deliberate strokes showing you that the needles are on the ends of the branches, and that that there is a purpose for them. Not an accidental thing, but certainly, definitely observed and interpreted with as much honesty as possible. So this little tree over here was really a delight to find. And then, of course, the background. There is more of this hill in the background here because this is a hilly part of Brookhaven. And so this hill in the background was dark and getting progressively darker and darker as the sunset went on, until eventually all of this was in total shadow. But the only way that you can show a Christmas tree lit with its lights is to put it in a setting of darkness. The entrance to this building is white cement, but of course we can't do it in white cement because there was no light on it. These are all pieces of information that maybe should be, you put in the memory somewhere, so that when you're out doing a white building and there's not much illumination, you know that the white building can't be white. It's got to be way subdued and far down in value. So, and the door, of course, is here. The door is here, and there is another entrance here. When you go up there, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's got funny little shapes. It's sort of, it's got a strange shaped door. The foreground here, of course, became all extremely dark. And the reason that the grounds are interesting and important is that the darker this foreground becomes, the more brilliant become the lights on the trees. So all of this is lawn, and can be very, very, loosely interpreted, as long as it's all kept very dark. There was a little window here with somebody working inside in that little far corner building. And so we'll just put a glow of yellow in that little building in the distance. And all of this foreground here was extremely dark, and even the fence in front of the tree was this subdued white picket fence that I'm talking about, which has got to be done in a very low tone, such as this. Well, as we come to the end of this program, I hope that you can see that I'm now painting a white picket fence with some very dark grayish blue. However, I think that you will admit that this fence looks like a fence in shadow. All of this is color observations vital to the business of painting from life. There's no formula here. There's no copying photographs. This is working from life, which has been my thing all along. And I expect that that's maybe one of the reasons that people are interested in seeing how I work from life on these scenes that are very intimidating because they're so complex. However, when you reduce them down to the simpler form and begin to understand what you're doing with color, there is the path to success is not as difficult as it may appear. So here we have a sort of a general and rather quickly interpreted scene of Bald Hill Christmas tree. I hope that all of this information has been not just enjoyable, but also helpful for the next time you decide to go out and pick up a brush and paint a scene. Am I almost out? Huh? We're almost ready to sign off, I expect. I think that my watch tells me that we've only got a short while, and I'm going to do a silhouetted tree over here in the distance so that I can show you once more how you do these silhouetted trees with a fine brush. And silhouetted trees against a light background in the dead of winter are absolutely delicious, and they should be, you should practice and try and see if you can really master this business of doing these silhouetted trees, because you will find that, well, life changes. As soon as you can handle a brush and do this kind of thing, painting will become a whole new deal. I've talked endlessly. I hope it hasn't been too overwhelming, but at the same time, maybe I've accomplished something. Please, if you can, tune in again on my other programs. Maybe I can, at that time, on a taped program, give you as much information, maybe even more than what we got tonight. And in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope that if you are interested in painting, you paint, well, at least once a week anyway. And please tune in again sometime. This is Patricia Windrow at the Cable Easel. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.